All right, everybody. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me tonight to witness this webinar presentation that's going to help you hone in on your freelancing skills. And it's designed to go really quickly, teach you the essentials of how I was able to create a massive online business, making over $20,000, $10,000 of which came from Fiverr, and then clients that I gained over the years. And I've been doing this for 7 years. So I'm just really excited to be able to present this information to you guys in this really rapid workshop. We're going to have a Q&A session at the end, but for the most part, this is going to be free information of the most important lessons that I've learned so that you guys could be successful in your own business online. So a little bit about myself. My name is Daniel Kanesh, and I'm an online entrepreneur. I've started multiple businesses. I've been working in freelance for a number of years. And again, that $20,000 that I've earned from Fiverr and other freelance sources was not just in one marketplace. I actually focused on drawing, blog writing, life coaching, web design, consulting, IT work, graphic design, technology. So I've been through so many different marketplaces, not just web design, not just writing. So I've seen patterns that have emerged of how I was able to sell clients no matter what market they're in, and what are those commonalities that help us be successful no matter what your background, technical background might be. There always comes back to the same themes of advertising, marketing, value creation, and converting people based on your matching skills to what people are looking for. The better that you can solve a problem and bring value to the table for other people, the more likely you are to succeed. So that's really the basis of this webinar and my process, and we're going to go into specifics of how you do that and go through specific strategies and skills that can help you get there. By no means am I promising that you'll make $20,000 from freelancing, but you're going to be on the right path to then grow and scale to that level depending on how well you master each of these principles. And my background is not just in freelancing, but I'm a mechanical engineer by trade, and I switched into project management. I'm currently working on an MBA degree at George Mason University, so I have a wide range of technical background and skills that have nothing to do with what I'm doing with graphic design and blog writing. So here's another point, is you don't have to be an expert starting out in your field, but as you grow in your competency, the more market price you can command, and we'll see more of what that means later on in this presentation. So today we're going to look at advertising online, okay, defining your customer, getting the product or service in front of those people. Then comes marketing, and that's kind of the same thing. It has the same concepts that are part of it. Marketing is about targeting customers according to specific principles. We'll look at what are some of those principles here in a little bit. The massage is the message. This is one of my favorite sayings because it's not so much just about the words that you use and how those words play on people's psychology and emotion, but it's also how much care and massage that you put into that word. How much do you care about your storefront, about how things look, how things are organized? That communicates subconsciously to potential customers of what kind of value that you're bringing to the table, and that you care about not just making money, but you care about delivering an excellent quality product. Communication is one of the biggest areas I can tell you of improvement. If you work on your communication, your customer-oriented service mindset, if you can get really good at that, then you're able to interact at a level that people get really interested in what you're doing, and you're able to convert those people that are on the edge of buying your product into buyers and customers and long-term customers. You have to treat people with respect, and you'll get 10 times back for everything that you give out. Quality control, a lot of people don't focus on quality. They hand over products that are half finished or 3/4 finished just to try to get it there on time. If you're not 100% proud of what you're delivering to customers, it will come back to haunt you. It's all about karma. It's about communicating that you care about the product, and when you're proud about what you do, you enjoy it, and it comes through in how you communicate, and it comes through in the work that you do. So make sure you're passionate about your industry, passionate about what you're doing, and you care about everything that you deliver is a piece of you that you're giving to a customer. It's your brand. So make sure it's always very polished. All right, pricing of the gig is about setting a target price. All right, I have a very simple method of how do you price a product or a service to people, and I use this in all of my businesses. It's a rapid way of budgeting, especially if somebody comes to you and says, well, I'd like for you to give me a website, and here's the specific requirements. Well, if you say, okay, let me check on that, and you spend a day or two not getting back to that customer, well, those 2 days, your competitors are going to come in and swoop up that person that's looking for a solution you can provide. So rapid gig pricing and knowing what your price is relative to the marketplace is what pricing your gig is all about. And I'll show you my rapid method to doing that later on in this presentation, so stick around. The CQTV method, targeting customers according to this, and this is an acronym that I came up with, which embodies all of these principles and will help you guys to focus on what's important out of this entire process. Getting traffic flowing is another really important concept. Okay, a lot of these softwares like Fiverr and Upwork and these platforms will bring in traffic to you automatically based on their search engine, based on their algorithms. An algorithm is just a fancy way to say this is how they make money, because when you make money, they make money. So they have designed a system that finds the people that are the most profitable for their platform and will help boost those traffic points for those people. So to get traffic flowing, you can't just rely on the machine. You have to develop a mindset of how do you get out there and bring people to your business so you don't just rely on chance for you to be successful. Converting that traffic. So you have this flow coming in, and you want to capture, just like you're fishing in a stream, you want to capture some of that traffic to make them into customers, and you do that through communication. I'll show you, again, what makes people want to purchase from you. What does your storefront look like? And what specific techniques and psychology tools can you use to get those people on your side? And then finally, we have an exclusive webinar bonus. Anyone that is watching this specific webinar, if you see this link and you are watching this right now, you're going to have exclusive access to this. It's pretty insane what I have to offer at the end of this thing, so watch it till the end. Check out the bonus. I think you guys are going to be really, really excited about it. All right, let's talk a little bit about advertising, okay? So advertising kind of goes along with marketing. Marketing and advertising are two almost of the same coin. Advertising is finding the position in the marketplace where people are walking, so to speak, in front. Like think of a marketplace, a grocery store, for instance, or a shop where people are walking by in a mall. Well, that traffic is going somewhere. You want to have a display where the people that are interested in your product are hanging out. Where, like, if people are online, then and they're spending their time on Google, well, then that's one advertising platform where you could be promoting your product or service. Similarly, Facebook, Instagram, all of these places where people are socially hanging out, they're potential marketplaces for you to advertise in. But advertising starts with knowing, not just finding a random platform and throwing a bunch of money at it, or throwing on a FAQ board or a forum that has nothing to do with your product, because those people are not going to be interested in what you have to sell. You want to be advertising in an area that is already familiar to your customer, and your customer is within that marketplace. We'll look at what that means more specifically later on in this presentation. Excuse me. So 3 principles here. Focus on one key product or service. All right. A lot of people are tempted to create a Fiverr profile or an Upwork profile that says that they're a fitness expert, a blog writer, and a musician. Okay. 3 things have nothing to do with each other, If somebody is considering that person over another candidate or another of your competitors that is vertical in their segment, okay, they're vertical in what they're selling, meaning that they are a marketer, or let's say they're a writer, okay? They're a writer for articles, they're a writer for books, they're a writer for research papers. Everything that's in their history and in their profile speaks to writing. It doesn't say they're a musician or they're a web designer or graphic artist. It says they're a writer. In some cases, you can find complementary segments, and that's great as long as they're complementary. So focus in on who am I selling this product to, what do they want, and then make sure your profiles reflect that. So focus in on that key area of expertise with your education, your description, your skill sets, everything. Okay? Expanding. Don't just advertise on one platform. Have multiple areas where your customers are aggregating and cast the widest net possible, as long as those areas, again, are points of coalescence for people that are within your market. Data analysis. Okay, data analytics, this is an area of my MBA that I'm specializing in, but it is very important to not just blindly advertise, but to understand the trends, understand who you're getting in front of. So anytime that you have a chance to track analytics, who, are people buying from you that are male, female, check the demographics, the age ranges, what are their interests, what are their hobbies? Using surveys on your past customers, saying, what did you like about my sales? If you don't have any customers, well, do a little bit of market research and find out wherever you can who you're selling to and what are their things that they like, what are their behaviors, what are the things that they care about, and then highlight those in what you sell. The traffic funnel, so again, back to casting the wide net. You got Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, whatever media accounts that are available for free. And you can create 5 or 10 accounts in literally a couple of hours. You can have yourself set up on all of these different platforms, casting that net and providing value. So how do you reach out on these platforms? You don't just start advertising your business. You start contributing to the conversation. You start liking other people's stuff. You start adding some really interesting pictures that you have or graphics that you do for free, or a really interesting thought that adds value to the conversation, gets people interested, and then they start funneling and coming back to seeing what you have to sell only after you start that value creation process. You bring them to your blog, you bring them to your website, you bring them to your Fiverr gig profile page. Cool. SEO is about not just casting this net, but make sure you're focusing in that value creation and the conversations that you start in SEO, which is search engine optimization. You pick a specific keyword for your business, and that keyword is then featured on all of these different sites. What that's going to do is going to multiply all those people coming in based on the principles of SEO. And I don't want to get into a whole discussion about SEO, but it's a powerful concept. Definitely consider just coming up at least with a keyword. And when I say keyword, I mean, if you wanted me to find your product, or if I was looking for a solution to a problem I have, what would I type in? So if I go on Fiverr and I want to build, let's say, a logo for my business, I want it to be a cartoon logo that has like a 1950s feel to it. So your keyword would be 1950s cartoon logo. Boom. You now have a long tail keyword that people can search, and they'll find your storefront based on that keyword. And now you have a really powerful SEO strategy that's going to bring people into your business. Content creation. We talked about value-based content and then conversion. Once the traffic comes in, you really need a strong sales pitch. You need anybody that asks you a question, you need to be so fast to respond, super positive, not desperate. And we're going to look in detail on customer in that customer communication segment of this presentation, what you guys have to do, what you can do to increase that probability of conversion. It's all part of sales and marketing strategy, and it takes a little bit of practice to get good at, but you need to start immediately failing until you succeed. That's always how I go about business. Marketing fundamentals. Okay, who are you targeting relative to your competitors? Okay, who are your competitors? If you don't know who you're up against, you could be way outpricing yourself and nobody's going to even consider coming to buy from you. So for instance, if I sell a website at $500, I need to be really savvy of who else is out there selling cheaper and better, because those are my competitors that I don't want to outprice myself in the marketplace. Right now, a $500 website is supremely cheap compared to the $3,000 to $5,000 range that other people in my marketplace are selling at, and I'm just not right now in the stage of my business where I want to be targeting $3,000 to $5,000 websites. By all means, I could, and I've done so in the past, but knowing your market, knowing where you're priced relative to competition has to be part of your initial strategy. That's getting to what are the customer needs and wants. They want to buy something that's good value, ultimately in the end. They also want to buy something unique. You need to differentiate yourself somehow from the other competition. You don't want to leave it up to chance where you have 10 people doing the exact same thing and someone randomly has to pick one of them just on a hunch. You want to bring people over the edge because you offer something different, whether it's extraordinary performance, whether it's some adders or extras that you do in your sales proposition. You go above and beyond to deliver one day earlier. Or in the case of Fiverr, some people have 24-hour gigs. Well, what if you could deliver in 6 hours or less? That's all of a sudden a bump ahead of everybody else that, maybe it's Saturday or Sunday and people need something immediately. If you can deliver, you can command a huge price range for that type of service. So, even if you're cheaper, you'll get so much business. People are like, wow, I'm going to get this in 3 hours. It's exciting, and the differentiation matches specific people's needs. When you match a customer need, and I would write this one down, when you match a customer's needs, then you increase to the highest extent the probability of that customer buying from you. Cool. The competitive map, we'll look at that next, and then of course being authentic. Don't pretend like you're a multinational company and you're one person. Be yourself. Say it as you believe it, but also say it as it's real. Express your skill sets honestly, and don't oversell yourself as this massive organization. 500 accountants behind you, and 20 lawyers and 300 staff people under your wing. That doesn't convert. Authenticity converts. Value creation converts, and marrying all these concepts together will help you out tremendously. The competitive map, this is a really basic example, but do a little bit of market research when you start off selling in whatever niche it is. Let's say you're doing, I'll go to drawing, for instance. Let's say I'm a charcoal drawer. Well, I want to see what are other competitors on Fiverr, on Upwork, that are doing charcoal drawings. What's their skill level? What's their quality? Okay? And then map that quality and skill versus, let's say, a dimension like affordability versus how expensive something is. All right, so if something is extremely affordable, and but the quality is really low, and you see that's most of your competition, well, what if your quality is really high and you're really affordable? Then boom, you're placed on a map that's not surrounded by too many other people. So pick a couple of these dimensions, and you could use this one for an example. You can use really any dimension that you want of things that people are interested in your marketplace, and then see how you relate. How do you fare compared to other people in your market? And then if your goal is to match what your customer wants, they want convenience and affordability, and make sure that you're not overly surrounded by other competitors and you're offering something unique in a market space that's not overly saturated. But that's less important. We'll look at some more ways that you can maximize your value to customers here in the next couple slides. And that takes us to strategically composing your marketing. This is the marketing copy that you guys have on your storefront, that you have in your descriptions for what you're selling. Okay? Emphasize your main benefit is about thoughtful, crafted sales pitch. Every sales pitch needs to start with the customer first. Okay? If you want to answer a number of questions in your description, whether it's Fiverr, Upwork, or any other freelance profile that you're working with, you want to know, what does the customer want? They want to know what they're going to get. Okay? So from the customer's perspective, the customer wants to know, hey, what am I actually going to get out of this? Showcasing real examples is so powerful to doing that ends. All right, if you're a logo company and you have this crappy logo, well, guess what? The customer is going to assume that's what you're going to give them. You can't try to sell somebody you're going to give them A, B, C, D, E, F, G if you don't even have the first one to begin with, and you can't demonstrate you can do that. Make sure you have a finished product to show so people know what they're going to get. All right? They want to also trust that you can deliver. So if you have no reviews, forget about it. Your first goal, if you have 0 reviews right now, is go into your existing network and find people in your network that are interested in your product, or just give it to them for free in exchange for a review. That's so important. Take a 2-second breather there for a second. People also want to know, they want to be heard and understood. So if somebody asks you, can you do X, Y, Z, repeat back to them, yes, I can do X, Y, Z. Don't just say yes. Don't leave it open-ended like that and leave them hanging. People also want an easy transaction. They want to solve their specific problem. Excuse me, guys. I have a little bit of a cough today. You want to be able to solve a specific problem that people have. All right, customer communication, the biggest pitfall of many new online freelancers. How do you communicate with the customer and lead them to a sale? All right, so you want to sell your service. One of the biggest no-nos to never do is go to your customer and say, or potential customer, and say, what's your budget? I bet, and you can answer this honestly, if you've ever done this before or you're thinking about doing it, stop yourself now, save yourself the pain of trying to build a business around asking other people what their budget is. This is going to destroy your business faster than anything else, and I'll give you a real-life example. I was looking for someone to do graphics for me, and I would have happily paid $50 to $100 in that range for this work. However, knowing that this market of all the people that were doing graphic design had people selling them for $5 with excellent quality, the guy asked me, what's your budget? And I told him $5. It's extremely cheap because I wanted the work done. I wanted it cheaply done, and I knew that other people were doing it at excellent quality for the same price. Well, he could have got himself $50 to $100, maybe $30 or $45, but instead, because he asked what's your budget, he was basically handing over his responsibility as a seller to the buyer, and you don't want to do that. A better approach is to know confidently what your market value is and pitch what it's worth. If you don't know what your market value is, then I'll show you a bottoms-up way of calculating what that is, and this will help you guys be much more successful in pricing your products going forward. Rule number 2, you are a concierge at a 5-star hotel in Switzerland. This is the principle, and I love this imagery, because the Swiss are amazing at hospitality, especially in hotels. All right, if you go to a nice Swiss hotel, they are dressed in suits. They're going to answer, yes, sir. They're going to have like an amazing rapport and treat you like royalty. You want to treat your customers like royalty. Very thoughtful, respectful language, and make the transaction painless. Don't ask the customer to jump through hoops to give you the information that you need. You know, I had one person one time send me a form I had to fill out. It was 3 pages long, and I had to answer all these millions of questions. And I'm like, I don't have time for that. I want to tell you quickly what I need, and I want something quick for $50 or $100. And by making me work for you, you're adding pain to the process. Make that process painless for the customer, and they will come back again and again and leave you an amazing review at the end, which we'll talk about Rave Reviews. That's one of the biggest, most powerful principles out of this entire seminar. If you remember one thing, remember Rave Reviews. Avoid desperation. A lot of people are so desperate in how they communicate, especially if they have no money and they're trying to sell just to earn a buck. I mean, that's not a good place to be. And if you really are desperate, then you should have a main job. You shouldn't be trying to freelance full-time. It's so competitive that desperation reeks. And I use a little bit of a story here of the squirrel, or metaphor here. The squirrel's running towards you for some acorns. All right, if you run towards a squirrel with a bunch of acorns in your hand, that squirrel's going to dart away as fast as it can, scared, shitless of you approaching that squirrel. However, if you sit quietly with the acorns in your hand, the squirrel will come to you. That's an important principle, is calm and confident communication will convert more than desperation 9 times out of 10. All right, how do you price your gig? And I have a cool sports car here because, if you price luxury, you better be giving luxury. If you price cheap, you're in a very cheap marketplace. So really fine-tune your pricing. Look at specific strategies. This is how I actually go about pricing everything to my customers, and it works. Every time I have a conversation, it works extremely well, and I've never failed being able to price bottoms up and rationalize and justify why I price things to customers. I sold a $500 website 2 days ago because I was able to do this very, very well. All right, know your market, know your competition, and price your value. So the value is really key. Are you giving something that everybody can do for $5 and it's really not, takes you 5 minutes to do? Or are you doing something that has a pretty wide range of pricing, but you spend 3-4 hours, maybe even 5 to 10 hours doing? Well, that's going to have, and you're extremely technically skilled at doing it, that's going to have a very much higher market value than a cheaply made 5-minute product. And people will recognize that, and they'll pay you for the quality, skill, and difficulty it is to do what you do. If you're a programmer and you're extremely good at programming, well, people will pay a premium for that type of service. Competition. Are you solving it better than your competitors? Are you offering something that's different? How sensitive is your marketplace to price? Is price the most important thing? With like logos and or blog writing, people are highly price sensitive. So if they can pay $5 for a 500-word article, they're going to do that. But if you're an extremely talented writer that can command $200 to $500 for that same 500 words because you've been published in 3 or 4 different nationally syndicated magazines, well, that's a whole different ballpark. So how difficult is it for others to enter into your marketplace and obtain the same skills that you have? Think about that. And then price control. Once you master this and you have a steady flow of traffic, you can literally turn down and turn up traffic just by controlling your price point. It's like operating a valve. All right, you can turn it wide open, and I can, if I drop my prices right now today, 30 to 50%, boom, I start getting so many orders I can't actually handle it. So that's why I keep myself at this pretty high price point, so I can get 3 to 4 jobs a month, and it keeps me at a nice, comfortable level where I can do this basically part-time. So I have a full-time day job, and I just work like 1 or 2 hours every day after work, freelancing. How do you do a very fast price estimate? This is my secret technique. Okay? So step 1 is to review the scope from the customer. Customer wants XYZ. We'll ask a couple of probing questions, not too many, but enough so you get a sense of how many work tasks are associated with the scope that they want you to do. So, and this helps you define and create some boundaries of what you will do, what you won't do, and err on the side of doing more. Don't say, I can't do X, Y, Z, or this is too much. You know, you're going to lose a customer so fast doing it that way. Just bound what you're going to do. Say, well, I can do this, and I'll throw in this, and this. Okay? Create a list of actions. Put a discrete time to each of those actions. So really, you have to know what you're doing first. Make sure you're familiar with your craft. So for instance, if I'm doing a website, I know that one page takes me 2 to 3 hours if I'm spending a lot of detail on it, or I could finish in like maybe 1.5 hours. I know the market rate for that web page is about $50 to $60 an hour. So I can price a 5 to 10 page website based on a unitized, broken down, bottoms up estimate. Sum up all your hours, sum up any ancillary costs if you're using, let's say you're using some type of icon or image, one of those image sourcing, royalty-free websites or stock images, that sort of thing. You're paying a $20 or $30 monthly membership. I'll put that into my pricing. Sometimes I'll even put in a software package like Adobe Creative Cloud. You know, if I pay $50 or $60 a month for it, well, that's going to factor into my price as a base, adder cost of doing business for other people. And I'll actually itemize it on quotes. And I'll tell them specifically, well, I'm throwing in these software packages depending on the customer. Most people just want to know what the dollar is. And then if they ask, you can break down specifically what goes into it. All right. Step 2 is to determine what the market hourly rate is. And I gave you guys the example of $60 an hour for web design, but 65 to 150 for tech and IT, $20 to $50 an hour, depending on your skill level for web design, $100 to $200 per hour for business consulting. So know what other people are charging, roughly speaking, in the market, because people buy at the market rates. They won't buy at outlandish prices. If you're $200 an hour, you're going to get maybe one client every 6 months or a year. And that's great, but it's not good if you want to improve your skill, grow your brand, have that brand recognition, have that word-of-mouth advertising. There's so many different parts to it if you do this right. Perception and complexity factor. This is another thing that factors in. $50 website versus a $500 website. What's the big difference? Well, a $50 website may take just as much time as a $500 website to create, but if you know how to change that perception of, okay, I'm going to throw in a couple of very small extras that take me about 15 to 20 minutes each. So I'm going to add 1 hour of time, but quadruple or multiply my factor by 10 because I've added those little extras, like including graphics, including writing, SEO customization. I go through all of the meta tags and meta titles and meta descriptions, and I update those for the site. I work really fast, and I'm super convenient, and I don't ask a whole lot of questions. I make the process so painless for the customer, they're willing to pay that 10-fold difference because I've created that complexity factor perception. What I'm doing is more than just this $50 cheap version that other people are doing. And you're going to feel it throughout that process. The CQTV method, my favorite acronym here. We're going to go through each of these pieces. We've talked about this. Communication, quick, pleasant. If somebody messages you about a product or service you have, you better be responding within 15 to 20 minutes. If you don't have access and you're checking your stuff once a day, you're losing so much potential customers. You got to be really quick, excited, professional, and build people up. Ask them one leading question in your communication strategy of, when do you need this by, and maybe ask them an interesting question about their business, right? When do you need this by? Who's your target marketplace? So those 2 probing questions, really simple for the potential client to answer, but it leads them into this red zone of getting excited. They're interacting with you. They have that familiarity. You start to develop a little bit of rapport with them. You echo back what they're telling you. Yeah, I can definitely do this in X number of days. Awesome. Now they're motivated. Then you strike. You need to provide them an offer. Submit an offer. Say, I can do it. Let's start now. I'm ready. I got a clear schedule. Let's go. Let's do this. Order now. Boom. Call to action. Focus on that. You'll convert into a sale. All right. Quality. Again, sales is about perception of confidence. If you can't write properly, or there's tons of grammar mistakes and spelling mistakes, people get a subconscious feeling that the quality is not going to be there. So polish your work, even if you don't speak. Let's say English is not your native language, or whatever language you speak is not, you're not fluent in it, or you can't write properly. Then get somebody, a friend, somebody in your network, and if you don't have those people in your immediate network, will reach out. Start getting resourceful. Your resourcefulness will convert into success. You can't just be limited by your environment and your self-limiting beliefs. That's a whole other webinar. We can get into belief systems. But just really polish your craft and be respectful of your grammar and how you come across to clients. Timeliness. Biggest thing, I don't care if you broke your leg, your computer and everything powered down and shut off. You cannot deliver something late without notifying your customer. Make sure, and it's okay to notify them, say I need another day or two. Try to limit that to 1 out of like 10 or 1 out of 20 customers that you treat like that. Really always be on time. If actually ahead of time is better than even on time. Like 2-3 hours ahead of time or a day ahead of time. People will appreciate speed. Don't be too fast where you're making your stuff look cheap. You want to balance it so that you're delivering to what you promise, but you're delivering it a little bit early. Create that perception of value. We talked about this. Painting an image in people's mind of what they can have. What's the potential value you're giving them? Put somebody in the driver's seat, smelling the leather, hands on the wheel, instead of saying, hey, do you want this sports car? No, say you want to sit inside this brand new leather seat, gripping this insane steering wheel, ergonomic design, hear the clutch of the key turning and starting up that 750 horsepower engine, and feel it vibrating and take off under your feet. You paint that visual image with your words of what people are going to get in your marketing copy. And these 4 principles together really combine to have an amazing way of converting people into customers. All right. The Rave Reviews, we talked about this being the most important thing you guys take away from this webinar, is when you're starting off, if you have 0 reviews, your first and most important goal is to get 10 to 15 rave reviews. All right. Well, Daniel, I don't have anybody in my network. Where do I find these people? You better go to your friends. You better go to your family. You better go out and put some flyers out on the street. You better walk into businesses with your business card. If you don't have a business card, then pitch it just with your voice, with your motivation, your excitement. Go until you find somebody that you can deliver. Say, hey, I want to give this to you for free. I need you to go to Fiverr, give me a review if you like what I've done for you. You're getting it for free. People are not going to resist and reject a free thing as long as you have a little bit of quality to it. So don't deliver something free and it's crappy. Make sure at least you're pretty confident and skilled in what you're doing. Being passionate about your work, you have to have a sustainable product, meaning you're not in a business that you hate. Okay? I wouldn't start doing websites if I hated doing websites, or writing if I hated writing. You have to do something that you're passionate about, because in the long term, if you love what you do, it'll come across in your work, and you're going to enjoy it 10 times more than starting something just for the money. So think about passion. Passion will convert to sales later on. Over-deliver, deliver early, provide freebies, do multiple revisions, never complain about doing revisions. Okay? People will get tired. After 2 or 3 revisions, they don't want to keep doing revisions. People have too much time to not be able to waste. People want to save their time. They want to save their energy and their money. So happily do revisions. not to where it becomes abusive, 5 or 10 or 15, but keep doing it 3, 4 happily. Yeah, no problem. I did 5 revisions on a drawing one time. I redid the drawing 5 times. They were so ecstatic that they gave me the best review ever, and it converted to 10 times more sales later on. So positive attitude, don't complain. And always offer free upgrades, or a thank you in your promotion to a special customer. Say, no problem, I will give you the next bottle up for the same price. Boom, you just created a ecstatic customer because of it. All right, this is what happened in my business. I started off with 0 jobs, $0. I've landed my first gig at $5. I put in an extraordinary drawing. It took me 5 hours, 3 to 5 hours to do these super detailed hand sketches. I even shipped the sketches off to them for free. And this was hundreds of dollars of value I sold for $5. Boom. Now I had reviews, and they were rave reviews. People were so excited. They gave me this fantastic feedback and comment on my gigs. Well, then I graduated to $20 projects, and I was still offering insane value. I could have been charging $200 for them. Then I had 10 to 15 jobs and reviews under my belt. Well, at the next stage, the market stabilized, and I was able to start commanding market values, like $100, $200 websites. And after about maybe the 50 mark of reviews, I just kept doing this, market value, the floodgates opened, and I was able to actually convert a $4,000 gig. Actually, it ended up being about $12,000 in total, but it was an insane ramp up at that many reviews and that much quality and those rave reviews behind me that it opens the floodgates, and you can command premium prices for your products. It's pretty amazing. So in summary, guys, we talked about defining your customer, asking for the sale, always pitch that call to action part of your process. Embody your craft and demonstrate that you're the expert on that platform. That verticality, remember, you're focusing on one thing that you're the expert in, and everything that you do reflects that you're so skilled in that one area. Psychology and persuasion, do some reading, get a couple of books, find some free resources online that are like blog posts about persuasion and marketing skills, and read in on those and actually pick up a couple of the techniques. One of the ones I use a lot in my business is I'll say, well, this will cost you $3,000. And people are like, what, $3,000? And I'll say, okay, listen, because you're the first-time client, give it to you for $1,500. People are like, whoa, yes, that's so much cheaper. That's one of the laws of persuasion. I just basically did a contrast of this super high-priced gig versus the super low one. It was still very expensive. And just because I told the big one first, people were, that probability of buying the more expensive product goes up. So master these principles, incorporate them into your strategy, your technique, and own them, make them your own. Deliver the value. You got to communicate like you're the Swiss concierge wearing that tuxedo, that 3-piece suit. Yes, sir. You don't have to say yes, sir, but communicate with that passion, respect, and even say in your own mind, say, I respect you. You're awesome. You're my friend. Like, think that and react that way to the person that you're dealing with, and they're going to reciprocate back by giving you more money. Take consistent action. All right, your attitude will take you further than anything else. If you take intermittent, some people get started in this, they do 1 gig, 2 gigs, and then they give up. Get consistent in taking action should be the most important thing in your life to master that skill. So now it's your turn. Take these principles, make them your own, and I thank you guys so much for tuning in. But wait, there's an insane bonus coming up, and I want to offer this to you guys, everyone that's watching this video today. It's pretty exclusive. It's kind of crazy that I'm doing this, but I'm just really excited to present this to you, so check it out. I'm offering a bonus webinar exclusive. This is an Online Freelance Bootcamp membership for unlimited access and personalized interactive coaching with me every single week for 1 hour on Tuesday evenings, 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern Time, where we go through step-by-step workshops on building gigs from scratch on Fiverr, reviewing gigs and providing live feedback on other people's products on your own gigs. I'll go through certain members and critique what is working, what's not working, so you guys can optimize those sales. And in fact, you'll pay for this membership just by being part of this membership. I'm going to give you the insights that can take you to that next level. The psychology of selling. What are the techniques that I use? I gave you guys a couple examples in this webinar. We can hone in on those and look at specific ones. I'll even walk you guys through some of the conversations, redacted of course, with real customers, and you can see what that communication looks like, so you can use those same skills in your own business, gain that competitive advantage. Traffic boosting roadmap. How do you attract more traffic? You have nobody coming in? Well, I'm going to encourage you and root for you to get those rave reviews to start off with, but then how do you reach out and create your Twitter, create your Facebook, create your YouTube, create your blog post, and start funneling in people to your business so you can maximize those sales. And then you'll have VIP email access to me for questions and support throughout this entire period. And this is a limited number of participants that can attend. I'm limited because of the hosting that I can do on these live webinars, but that content will help you master online freelancing. And my guarantee to you is if you don't get 10 times the value out of joining this group, then you can cancel anytime. In 14 days, you'll have the first 2 sessions for free. If you don't like it, you cancel at any time. Full money refund back guaranteed in that period. And I want to sell you guys on becoming the best that you can be and mastering your craft. I'm rooting for you. I give 110% to everybody that I work with, one-on-one. When I consult, I charge usually several $100s to some of my consulting clients. This, I've seen and done some research. People are selling this exact type of webinar service for $450 to $1,000 online per month. People are paying $10,000 to $20,000 to be in these types of groups. So, I wanted to bring this down to an introduction price. This is the first time I'm doing this at such a cheap price, especially. And this is only going to go up from here, so it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Hope you guys take it. You owe it to yourself. You owe it to your business. Let's take you to the next level. Thank you guys so much. Leave me a comment. Send me an email. I appreciate everything, and God bless. Any questions? Open up the floor to the Q&A. All right, guys. No questions? All right.